Maybe y'all saw the news out of Nebraska today. Apparently our entire state is going to go bankrupt in 2 quarters. Me and my husband owned a cattle ranch here, and I can confirm that all of the cattle ranchers here overwhelmingly voted for Trump. We support him. We voted for him. Something like 70% of our entire workforce is undocumented immigrants, and they straight up are not showing up for work anymore. They have all either fled the country, fled the state. They don't want to get raided while at work, so they have just moved on to work somewhere else. And straight up, we are going to go bankrupt now. We are going to go bankrupt. And yeah, we voted. We knew that the immigrants would get deported and he was coming after immigrants, yet we still voted for it. Overwhelmingly voted for our own demise. I was talking to my husband last night, and I have to admit that it seems a bit foolish now when you think about it like that.
I have a question for the rest of America. Does anyone even care about Nebraska? Does anyone even care?
On my feed at the moment, I'm getting a lot of like, don't you guys care about Nebraska? In 6 months, we're going to be out of money. Favo. No, we don't care about Nebraska. We care about those tiny little blue purple dots. But your MAGA asses, we don't give a shit about. Because we now know, I mean, honestly, I don't think most of us knew this but we now know that Nebraska is somewhere between 45 and 65% undocumented labor. You in Nebraska had to have known that, because you went to the polls intentionally to get those undocumented people out of your state. What with their flavor and spices and ability to sway their hips and, stamp their feet in time to the music, you were fucking offended as hell. Now, there was that, disconnect between, they do all the work and they pay the taxes, but we want them out. I don't know, I guess you guys thought there was going to be some kind of surge of white people just be like, oh, thank the Lord, we've been looking for this job for forever. Please pay me less than minimum wage. I cannot wait. Oh, right, they didn't. And before ICE could even show up to get your undocumented workers out, they up and left, taking their tax payments with them, which was part of the reason why you guys will be out of money in 6 months. All that I want to lower my taxes shit, congratulations, now they're lower. We are sad that Nebraska might go under, because we understand what you guys raise and grow. We understand what will be missing. We're sad about it, but we knew what was going to go missing when Trump was, your top pick, your only pick. Did you even have another candidate? And when we read Project 2025, we knew what was coming. You must have known what was coming. You just somehow thought there was this, surplus of skilled white laborers just lollygagging, waiting for this moment. You could have called Florida and asked them how it was going there.
So let me get this straight. Nebraska, the land of corn, cows, and conservative loyalty, is now sounding the alarm because it might go bankrupt within the year? I'm supposed to clutch my pearls now? The same folks who voted for the man who made cut government programs his hobby and kill trade deals his legacy are now shocked that economic gravity finally hit home? It's giving surprised Pikachu energy. Let's not act brand new. Y'all were cheering when the EPA got gutted, clapping when farm subsidies were on the chopping block, and proudly waving "No socialism here" signs while raking in crop insurance and federal drought relief. And now you want sympathy? Look, it's sad when communities hurt. It's real pain. But when that pain was gift-wrapped in red, white, and blue and called patriotism, let's not pretend this was an ambush. No one's saying farmers deserve this. What we're saying is, when you co-sign chaos, don't cry about the aftermath.
So as a Nebraskan, the farmers predominantly voted for the current president. They also voted for Pete Ricketts and Deb Fischer, who aren't doing anything for them. And China announced that they're not going to buy corn and soybeans today, or I think they've done it over the last couple days. I think it was last week. Because of the trade war, their current president that they voted for decided to wage, a trade war with China. They're not going to buy your goods. And I know that a lot of you have said that you want aid. Well, as a taxpayer who lives in Nebraska, who did vote for the right candidate, I don't think I want my tax dollars going to bail you out. I think you actually should sit in your decisions and feel the effects. You want us to, every time we vote for a Democrat, and you say they're horrible. So at this point in time, I'm going to tell you the same thing you say to me back. You wanted to vote for this. Now you get to deal with the consequences. And I don't think I should have to bail you out, because I work hard for my money too. And my dollars shouldn't bail out your bad decisions. So yeah, today I'm telling you, the farmers here in Nebraska, you need to deal with your own decisions. It's your consequences, not mine, and I don't want to pay for them.
Here's where it gets rich. You've got a woman on TikTok asking, does anyone care about Nebraska? And the comment section, crickets. The same internet that goes feral over coastal floods and Starbucks unions is suddenly quiet when the heartland bleeds. Why? Because when you vote for policies that scream every man for himself, don't be shocked when no one sends you a casserole when it's your turn to struggle. Let's talk about that patriotism for a second. Remember when Nebraska folks were talking about how lazy city folks needed to learn the value of hard work? Well, apparently, bankruptcy teaches that too. The reality is, selective empathy cuts both ways. If you made a living telling poor black mothers to just bootstrap harder, don't act offended when someone tells a bankrupt rancher to sell their truck and get a second job. See how that feels? It's not fair, but it's consistent. And in America, consistency is the closest thing we've got to karma.
Hey there, MAGA regret. It is really, really happening. And I grew up in rural Iowa, just 1 hour away from Omaha, Nebraska. Both of my children live in Nebraska. Most of my family are in Nebraska right now. And so this is a really big deal for me. But you guys voted for this. And I don't want to go through the whole thing that everybody else is doing. What I want to talk about is decency. So when I grew up, and probably the same thing for boomers, if you broke something, you made up for it. So say you go borrow your neighbor's ladder and it breaks. You go buy them a new ladder, your wife bakes them a cake or a pie, and you express your sorry several times, and you feel bad. So now your vote, because you did not pay attention the last time or read Project 2025 or anything to point you in the right direction and show you what exactly was going to happen, this is the vote that you made. And so I see many of you coming on here crying fake little tears, but I have zero sympathy for you, because what are you actually doing now? Are you protesting in any way? What are you doing besides trying to get other people to feel bad for you? It's going to require action, and it's going to require you to really go out and mobilize and make a difference now, because you are the one who did the thing. It was you. You made the vote. It's affecting you now, just like it affects the rest of us. So what are you going to do? I'm really anxious to hear what you're going to do to make up for it. We are not the ones that did this. So again, how are you going to make it right? The people in the Midwest are it's very, very important to make up for your wrong. So what are you doing to make up for your wrong? Write it down. What action, what mobilization are you doing? This is really the only answer now. I don't want to hear any more tears or any more bullshit. What are you doing?
Now let's rewind the tape. Back to the trade wars of 2018. Remember when Trump slapped tariffs on everything that wasn't nailed down? And China responded by ghosting American soybeans like a bad Tinder date? Farmers got hit first and worst. But instead of raising hell, many doubled down, calling it a short-term sacrifice for long-term gain. Baby, the gain never came, but the bankruptcy notices did. You were promised prosperity, got policies held together with duct tape, and now the barn's on fire while Washington eats filet mignon. Let me be clear, rural communities matter, farmers matter. But if your political loyalty is stronger than your survival instinct, don't drag the rest of us into your scorched earth economics. Because when you vote like government doesn't matter, eventually you'll live in a place where it doesn't. And that's not poetic justice. It's just sad. But it's the kind of sadness that comes with a thick layer of, we tried to tell you.
Does anybody care about Nebraska? That's the question that's going around TikTok right now, and to that, I respond with two questions. Did Nebraska care about anybody else? And does Nebraska care about Nebraska? Because, you see, God helps those who help themselves. And when you Nebraskans walked into the voting booth and overwhelmingly voted for Donald Trump to be president, and now you're feeling the effects of that, this isn't I told you so. This is an FAFO. And I know there are Nebraskans out there that voted for Kamala Harris and did not fall into the trap of Donald Trump. Unfortunately, there were not enough of you. And now the rumors, and I'm having a hard time substantiating some of this, but the vibe that's going around is that Nebraska basically looks to be bankrupt in about 6 months because of the undocumented migrants that are being deported, or just the fact that undocumented migrants make up a large portion of their state and workforce on the farms. And they're not showing up to work because they're now afraid they're going to be deported. So Nebraskans, especially farmers in Nebraska, did you think any further than the front of your face? Did you think any further? Or were you just blinded by hate? And now people are coming out here asking, what about Nebraska? Do you guys care about Nebraska? No, I've already answered it, but the short answer is no. No, we don't. We don't care about Indiana, where I'm from. We don't care about Kentucky losing their bourbon up in Canada. We don't care about Jack Daniels in Tennessee. We don't care about the auto industry in Michigan. Are we all going to feel this? Yes, it's going to hurt. The disruptions in the food supply from Nebraskan farmers is going to hurt everybody. We are not immune, but we can't care. We can't care. We have no more sympathy to give. You guys had a chance. We spent our time telling you, talking to you, talking at you because you wouldn't listen. You decided to vote for Donald Trump, and here he is undoing your entire workforce. And when you lose your family farm of 150 years to a private company who's going to buy up all the land when you guys can't pay your bills, that's the state of America we're going to be in because you decided to vote for hate over the rest of the country and your own good. You cut off your nose to spite your face. So Nebraska, we don't care. God helps those who help themselves, and you decided you didn't want help.
Nebraskans are pissed. Bigly, Askins, the Askins are pissed. Nebraskans, no one wants to hear Farmer John with his butt crack showing, married to a Karen, complaining about losing your little farm when you voted for me. They don't feel sorry for you, and I don't need your votes anymore, so I don't care. Bigly, Nebraskans, what did you think was gonna happen? If all your workers were Mexicans and we got rid of all the Mexicans, who's gonna be your workers? Guess what? You can take a page from the book of the Native Americans, followed by the African Americans, Chinese Americans, Indian Americans. Listen, what we're gonna do is crash the economy so all the rich people can buy up everything for super dirt cheap, including your land, Nebraska farmer dude. I don't know. And once we buy it for dirt cheap, we will hire you to work on said land. Hello, this is a tale as old as time. We've done it so many times before. And the fact that you thought you were exempt is absolutely hilarious. Bigly, it's funny because you guys are really effing around and finding out. Decided to put a little pause on the tariff situation. Canada had a problem and we came in and helped them solve it. They had a problem that there were tariffs that they could not pay. And I said, I will be your savior. I will take the tariffs away. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. Nebraska, I've actually sold Nebraska to Vladimir Putin. And we know I like to say Putin. That's my friend. In exchange for 2 new mail order brides that should be here by Thursday. One of them's gonna come with me into my forever cryo chamber where I will live in infamy and be the president of the United States for the rest of existence and time. Bigly, we're doing very well with Russia. Russia's really enjoying us and we're really enjoying Russia, and they're bombing the hell out of Ukraine right now. And I don't like the Ukraine guy because that guy is tan and he's kind of sexy. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't like that about him. Vladimir Putin is much more pale. He makes me look shiny and orange. And that's the kind of leadership that I really look up to. Bigly. Bigly, I do. We're having a good time. Everyone's having a good time this pregnancy, and you guys keep trying to come and interfere with your world news and your disasters. We like a good disaster. It's good for the millionaires and billionaires because we can buy up everything dirt cheap, including labor. Including you. We need a workforce. Too many of you farmers want to own your own land with government subsidies. Not anymore. Not anymore. Not anymore. You got what you voted for. Bigly, bigly, you got what you voted for.
At the end of the day, Nebraska's not just facing an economic reckoning, it's facing a racial one too. It's a predominantly white state, and now that the bottom's fallen out, folks are learning real quick that white Americans who claim there are no jobs still won't work the land. And black Americans, they won't do it either, because after centuries of unpaid labor and being criminalized just for existing, they're not about to jump in and save the very system that shut them out. The truth is, white farmers know who used to do this work: immigrants. Those same hardworking folks they cheered being hunted down, deported, and villainized. Instead of creating a path to citizenship for people who literally keep America fed, the government turned on them. And now, the fields are empty, the barns are silent, and the same politicians folks voted for are ghosting their calls. This isn't just a policy failure. It's a collapse of the fantasy that you can keep stepping on the very people you depend on and still stay standing. So as the crops die and the bills stack, remember this: you can't run a country like a purity contest and expect it to harvest like a democracy. Choices were made, and now, so are the consequences.